Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn. And joining me today is my regular co host, Brushy, and we're both very disappointed. It's a draw that feels like a loss, a game which United dominated for the most part, and once again struggled in front of goal, which has been a common theme under Ten Hag, really, let's be honest. And we're into his third season, and we're still struggling to score goals. We're still sitting on a goal difference of not minus goal difference last season, and today was a reflection of why we've struggled to score goals, just missing so many key chances, too many players who are just not potent in front of goal. Uh, and it was massively frustrating because it was a game which United dominated possession. I think we had 68% possession in the first half. And then because we didn't take our chances, it gave Palace confidence and they were able to come more into the game, especially in the last 20 minutes. And I thought Ten Hag substitutions made us worse. Rashford coming on for Xerxes definitely did. Rashford did nothing, and least Xerxes was creative for United. And then when Ugarte came on for Ericsson, we had no creativity whatsoever. We were just passing it backwards and sideways for the last 20 minutes. It was like Van Gaal stuff. And Palace got a couple of chances from turnovers and on counter attacks, and Onana had to make a superb double save. So, what was your thoughts on the game then, Brush?
It was a game of two halves for me, Carl. In the first half, I was very impressed. Some of our movement, link up play, the patterns, and then the chances we created, but we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, Garnacho had some wonderful chances, a lovely little through ball by Joshua Zirkzee, tidy little save actually by Dean Henderson, and then again Bruno with the ball which hit the bar. Oh, they both hit the bar, both Garnacho and Bruno. Bruno probably should have buried his one. The Garnacho
Yes.
one, it was a very difficult chance, and he came so close. Delit as well with the headers from the corners. On set pieces, I've seen an improvement. On one of those headers, he was very unfortunate. Anywhere else, and I think that's a goal, but he headed it down, and Hendo got a foot to it, I think. Yeah, very disappointing. To come away with a draw in that game in a game that we really should have buried by half time, if I'm being honest. Second half, I was hoping we could maintain that same momentum and pressure, but it sort of died off, didn't it? And like you say, with the substitutions that were being made, I don't think it helped us at all. Rashford and Ugarte coming on, Xerxes and Ericsson going off made a big change for the worst for us. Um, and it was quite annoying because in the first half, I was quite impressed with the link-up play of Xerxes, but he plays so deep, yeah. And in the second half, I was hoping to see Rasmus come on and see how he links up with Xerxes. So it's disappointing that that didn't happen.
Yeah, they weren't on the field at the same time. There's definitely an issue with Xerxes coming deep. That's fine, but then what's Fernandez's role then? He doesn't seem to be occupying a particular position. He seems to be here, there, and everywhere. And I thought he was absolutely shocking tonight, Bruno Fernandez.
Yeah,
Give the ball
yeah.
away so
It's
many
yeah,
times.
very lackluster performance, especially that second half as well. He really didn't offer much today. And the one chance that he got, he absolutely should have buried.
Yeah, Garnacho was unlucky when he hit the bar, but Bruno Fernandez, his
Yeah.
rebound effort was just terrible. He should have scored.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Garnacho was very lively, I thought. I was very impressed with him in the first half.
although he did fade in the second half. To be fair,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, and Ahmad didn't have the best of games either. And I knew that Rashi would come on. I thought probably for Diallo, and then um, I thought maybe we would see Garnacho switch to the right hand side, maybe.
yeah, Rashford for Xerxes was a big mistake. That substitution did not work at all, and it was so frustrating watching the last 20 minutes of us just knocking it around the back four and going nowhere. And you're like,
Definitely. And yeah, shout out to Anana as well. Made some big key saves. Um, my heart stopped for a minute when Eze had his chance, which he put wide, thankfully. Yeah, towards the end there, we could have even lost. It was terrible. So yeah, he kept us in it.
Would have been absolutely typical if we had lost that game after dominating.
Oh, it would have been absolutely devastating. It would have been a proper smash and grab had they won that game.
But yeah, Onana's initial save was decent, but the save from the rebound was excellent. It was absolutely out of this world, and rightfully so. He was getting a lot of praise from his teammates in that moment. Uh,
Yeah, rightly
but
so, rightly so. Also, another thing to mention as well, I thought Leacher was quite lucky. A very stupid challenge that he didn't really need to make. I know he got the ball, but yeah, you know when both feet are off the ground, it's just unnecessary risk, isn't it? It's just stupid.
it's what you might call a Marcus Rojo tackle.
Yeah, yeah. In a game like this, though, you don't want to risk it, and yeah, it's a bit silly. You could have done without that.
Yeah, just as well he didn't make any contact with the player, or he would have been it would have been a straight red, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. He would have been straight to the showers. Shout out to Mazraoui again. I thought he put in a decent performance. He's just yeah, he just goes about his business, doesn't he? Really?
No issues with him whatsoever. He's just a real
Yeah,
steady Eddie.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
very
Just taken to the league like a duck to water and just goes about his business. Dallo on the other side, good going forward attacking, but then it's a bit lackluster as well. He doesn't fill me with any kind of confidence on that left hand side.
no. I don't want to bore everybody by criticizing Dallo for another 20 minutes, but yeah, if you're going to get the best out of what he's got, you have to play him on the right side of the pitch. No doubt about that, really.
Yep.
I have to give him credit and say he played a lovely ball into Garnacho for his chance, where Dean Henderson tipped around the post.
And what is it with these goalkeepers just turning into prime Gigi Buffon when we play him, eh?
Yeah. I didn't
We've had it over
quite.
the years, and it's always our former players as well. We've seen it with the likes of Tommy and
Yeah, I thought he made some decent saves, but I don't think he made any world class saves, if I'm being honest. But
nah, nah, nothing out of this world. But it was just yeah, the level of performance, especially in that first half, a lot of key saves.
I do have to say that I don't agree with Alan Smith's Man of the Match award to Dean Henderson. Not really sure about that. I know it was
Mm.
0-0 and we didn't score, but I felt the United player probably deserved to get that award. And I would say it was Kobe Menu. I thought he had a fabulous game in midfield. Is just he's just magic, isn't he? What he does with the football, and just sticks to his feet
I
like
think it
glue.
was the fact that probably Dean was the busiest person on that pitch. I think we had
Yeah,
something like what 15 shots.
yeah. But what did you make of Kobe
Mm.
Menu's performance tonight? That's a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, positive. Yeah, in the first half, I thought he was all right, but he grew into the game as it went along. There was that one shot as well that Ericsson got in the way of. Bless him. He couldn't really do
Yeah,
much about it. I don't know
I
how
think
close that was going to goal anyway, though. To be fair.
I think he was going for another. The goal he scored against Wolves last season, Menu. I think he was going
Yeah,
for another
yeah.
one of those into the far
I
corner.
was
And
impressed with Ericsson. You can see what
yes,
he offers. It's just a shame he's not 10 years younger.
I'm amazed he has now started 3 games in a row, and he's played s- 73 minutes, 90 minutes, and I think yeah, 73 minutes again. So yeah, he's playing a lot of minutes there in just 1 week, which I'm surprised
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
But
And again, last week, when we were here with Nige, we were discussing the midfield and how Ten Hag may or may not use Ugarte. And we were talking about, the fact that his system looks like he needs a progressor and ball carrier. And yeah, it's just a real shame that Ericsson isn't younger than he is. Because there was definitely a difference in the quality of our play when he went off.
yeah, there was no quality when he went off. No. We resorted to Bruno hoofball into the forward
Long
line.
balls,
Yeah.
long balls, and just passing it back.
I had to say the quality of Ericsson's corners are excellent as well. Um,
Yes.
I have long been a critic of United's corners,
Hmm.
but he took some beauties in that game, and Delict was getting on the end of a lot of them. And he probably should have scored with that one that Henderson saved with his legs. But that is something to
Definitely.
be positive about going forward. If Ericsson keeps delivering corners like that, Delict's going to score goals. There's no doubt about that because he attacks the
Oh,
ball.
absolutely. He's definitely a threat from set pieces. Delete.
Yeah, same way. He's got 29 goals, I think, in his career so far, and that's a high total
It's a
for a
great
centre half.
return. He's what 25. That's a brilliant return. That's far.
Yeah, I think in the long term, I think he's going to do what Vidic done for United from set pieces, and he's going to score a lot of
Mm.
headers. I think, especially with quality deliveries from Christian Eriksen. But I don't think Bruno takes a great set piece now. So it's nice to see a management decision that the captain has been told you're not taking the free kicks and corners anymore. So somebody has made that call behind the scenes, and I'm very happy to see it. But the most important thing tonight, of course, was the result, and we didn't get it. We will take positives from the game, or we'll take negatives from the game, but the most important issue is that we didn't get over the line tonight. And this has been a common theme, hasn't it? Really, since Ten Hag came to the club, we've struggled to score goals, haven't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing is, though, I mean, at this moment in time, it does feel like a defeat. But there are definitely positives to take away from it. Um, and it's a weird one, isn't it? Because on the one hand, I was saying to you the other day, I was like, oh, listen, it's about the 3 points. So I don't really care about performance. It's just about getting over the line and getting the win at this stage. But then we perform like we did today, and then we don't get the points. But the performance overall was pretty good. So you're exactly what it is that we want. Um, Ideally, both. But yeah, positives to take away from it, I guess, and something to build on. But the goals, I don't really know how we address the goal drought, to be honest. There's not too much more we can do with what we have. You just have to be clinical and take your chances.
Yeah, it's a real hard one because I think Xerxes, he's definitely just not number nine, like, is he? But he is a good player. Um, but so if you take him out of the team and you bring Hoyland in, y- you're going to gain something, but you're going to lose something at the same time. Do you know what I mean? You know,
Exactly, that's the issue. That's the issue. And he's not prolific, so he's not someone that's been brought in to get 25, 30 goals. And then I was impressed with his link play and stuff in the first half, especially that through ball to Garnacho, which was lovely. But
yeah,
then
it
if
was.
we've got our striker doing that, then the problem is we need somebody in the box to feed off of that, you know?
Yeah, we just seem to sign everybody apart from out and out goal scorer or a left back, which both of
Yeah,
those things we're still desperately in need of.
yeah. And that, one, if not both of those things could have been addressed in this window, if we're being totally honest.
But I'm,
Um,
I'm going to ask you a difficult question, which
hmm
is what we do here in this podcast. Should Bruno Fernandes be dropped?
Ah, see, the thing is, with Bruno,
I know what you're going to
whenever
say.
we've whenever we've said in the past, yeah, let's drop Bruno, the team overall performs worse without him, and immediately people think, oh, you know what we're missing? We're missing Bruno, and we bring him straight back in. Um, but yeah, for me, I don't think anybody should be just guaranteed a spot. It should be based on performance. So in terms of that, I wouldn't mind. But then who do you replace him with? Because Mason Mount's not fully fit, is he?
Well, he's definitely available again, and you imagine he's going to play against FC 20 in one way or another, whether Bruno
Yeah,
does or not. Um, but yeah, he hasn't started the season well at all. I don't think he's played well in any of the games so far this season, Bruno, which is very disappointing. What is it at United? Every time somebody signs a bumper new contract, then the following 6 months they're absolutely terrible after they sign the contract. Why does that always happen at Man United?
yeah, madness. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I will say is that I don't know about you, but I was pleasantly surprised with the amount of changes he made midweek against Barnsley. So I'm guessing again at 20 he will make changes and rotate. So that
Can
should hopefully keep everyone fresh.
can we play Barnsley every week, please?
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Because that was a rare break um, from our toothlessness up front. We were scoring obviously a hatful of goals in that game and probably could have scored more. That and I thought that that was the right call by playing Rashford in that game. He got a couple of goals, and that would have increased his confidence. And then he doesn't pick him today. I thought it was very strange the way that we've been calling for Rashford to be dropped, but when he hits a wee bit of form, then he drops him. I just don't get Ten Hag. His decisions just don't make logical sense. And yeah, and coming off the back of a 7-0 win, regardless of who we were playing, you wouldn't have expected to draw a blank in the next game, would you?
Yeah, you don't. But then again, this is why you shouldn't get giddy over beating teams that are several divisions below you. You have to do it in the Premier League, and even last week, actually, even Southampton. It wasn't convincing. We could have made it harder for ourselves in the first half. The way it was going, it was really the penalty save that shifted the momentum. So yeah, we just need to start putting these teams to the sword. You have to make the most of your chances. It's a very relentless, unforgiving league. So if you don't take your chances, it can go left very quickly.
Yeah, I have to be honest and say, given that we've already lost 2 games out of 5, um, if we're not gonna tonight would have been all right if we'd have won the first 4 games. You just put it down to it just wasn't our day. We didn't take our chances. But given we've lost 2 games already, we've had a thrashing to our rivals. We cannot afford to just throw away points like this. We're playing inferior opposition. We dominated most of the game. We should have won comfortably, and we didn't. If we're not going to score goals against a team as poor as Crystal Palace, I don't see us finishing in the top 4. Brush. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you already know my stance. I'm not even looking at league positions per se this season. It's just about performance, in it, really. So, mm,
Yeah, and yeah, the performance was there for the most part, but just it's the goals that are really lacking, and it's been a common theme.
yeah, that's the thing, and I don't see a quick fix for that.
No, I feel as if we're still lacking that goal scorer up front. I mean, a club like United that has big ambitions to win the biggest honours in the game has to have a striker who's going to score a lot of goals. We
Yeah,
used to
and
have
the way
four. We used to have 4 of them.
exactly, yeah, and then the way things transpired in the transfer window, Victor Osimhen could have been there for the taking, even on
Yeah,
loan for a season.
yeah. I said that in the previous podcast. Absolutely big
Hmm.
fan of that player. And for me, he'd come into United and score 20 league goals easily. Especially given the chances that we create.
Hmm.
But
So
we keep.
having somebody like that, that's. I mean, listen, that potentially might be an opportunity next summer, because obviously it's
Yeah,
only a loan.
I would be looking at that definitely.
Yeah,
But we'll assess it at the end of the season. We'll see if Hoyland can add more to his 16 that he got last season and see how many Zerks he gets. But I imagine it's both of their totals are not going to be earth shattering. So I think we need to look at getting
yeah,
someone else in as well.
yeah. To be honest, for them, I think what's realistic is about 15 apiece in all comps.
Yeah, that's good for them, but as I say, not good for Man United overall,
No,
really.
no, but then but judging by our goal difference and that, we'll take anything we can get at the moment.
Yeah, so what I would do, I'm not saying we should permanently, exile Bruno Fernandes from the team. I just think maybe he should be dropped for like the FC 20, put Mount in and see how it goes. We shouldn't
Yeah.
be guaranteed to start every game.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You need to rotate to keep everyone fit and fresh anyway. And yeah, with the amount of games we've got, that you can't just run them into the ground. And when people are having bad form, I don't think you can always just stick it out and play them back into form. You need to just give them a rest.
He does that a lot. Ten Hag, he's done it with Rashford and he's doing it again with Bruno Fernandes. I don't
Yeah,
like especially when we're not winning games. I don't like the idea of particular players just being untouchable, where they always play regardless. I know
definitely.
Rashford didn't
And
start
I'll tell
tonight.
you what, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Mount this season because in the early part of the season, before the injury. We saw what he offered. He puts in a lot of legwork, and in the way in which Eric wants to play, I think that's a pivotal part. You need legs.
I felt he started off the season really well, Mason Mount, but frustratingly, he always picks up a knock somewhere and then he's out for 3 weeks. Uh,
Yeah, this is the problem because yeah, he needs a consistent run because obviously even with the shift he puts in, uh, with more game time, I was hoping that he's shown that he's got goals and assists in his locker as well.
yeah, he played well in the Community Shield, the Fulham game, and then the first half against Brighton, and he came off at half time injured in that game. And I thought he was good for those 2.5 games, but he just needs to add, goals and assists to those performances, and then we'll have more complete player, the player that we saw at Chelsea. But
Yep.
yeah, for him to get the consistency, he needs to stay fit. And unfortunately, already, albeit it's a minor injury that's kept him out just for 2 or 3 weeks. Um, it has stunted obviously his progress. But I expect he's going to start against FC 20 all being well, possibly Hoyland as well. Um, because Xerxes is not scoring goals, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Hoyland to deliver as he comes back into the side,
hmm
which
But
unfair
but then
pressure,
when
of
you
course.
but then when I saw today that Xerxes and Hoyland weren't on at the same time, you saw the struggles as well. You saw the struggles of us trying to get the ball into Hoyland.
Here's another option. Actually, I just thought of it just now while we're talking on air. How about Xerxes replacing Bruno and Hoyland going up front? You
That
know,
could be interesting
yeah, I think
because he plays so far back anyway. He's so deep. He's almost like a 10.
I know he says he's a 9.5, but he's a
Yeah,
10.
he's like a 10, a very physical 10. Because yeah, he's got like some Emil Heskey type qualities, but he's a 10.
Yeah, I mean he could be a rugby player.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So there are positives, but when you're Man United, you're away against Palace, who are winless this season. We didn't score a goal. It still feels like a defeat, though.
It does. It does, especially when they were absolutely there for the taking. And you
I
could have scored about three.
I thought Eze was excellent on the ball. He's a wonderful player to watch.
hmm
But overall, I felt Palace were really poor.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I thought we absolutely stifled them. In the first half, I think I saw Eddie and Nketiah like twice at most.
yeah, and they were playing the ball out wide, and I was just going straight into the stands. You're like, this team is awful. They're there for the taking. They
Yeah,
just
yeah. I
they
thought we
just
were very well organized. I thought we were doing all the right things in that first half. The only thing missing was yeah, the finish.
yeah. If Garnacho's wonderful effort had hit the bar had been 2 inches lower, we'd have been talking about a
Yep,
a really good win away from home in the Premier League. But these are the
definitely.
these are the margins.
Yeah, and even then,
Unfortunately.
if that was the margin, we would have been sat here talking about, oh, we got away with one there. The next time we've got to take all of our chances. It can never be that tight.
Yeah, because Eze really should have scored that chance that you
As they
referred to
really
earlier.
should have. Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's the one where Dallo absolutely sold himself, wasn't it? Where
yeah,
he went,
yeah. I don't know if had Eze seen if he had a split second to see how much space he had on the other side. Oh, yeah, I think Onana would have been left stranded.
yeah, yeah. Onana had a good game tonight as well. I have to give him credit,
hmm
or it's due when
Yep.
because he's obviously not. It's one of those situations where he's not involved in the game much, but he was
hmm
alert whenever he was
And
called
that's what
upon.
you want from your goalkeeper, because sometimes, especially if you're the dominating team and you have possession, the goalkeeper often will have nothing to do for large parts of the game, and then it comes down to your mental fortitude to pay attention, to come alive when you're called upon, and he did that today.
Yeah, so he's gonna score very highly in the rating. So definitely give Onana a 7 today, and a clean sheet and a wonderful double save. So definitely a 7 for him. Maserahi, I would give him a 7 as well. Another really solid performance and
hmm
really good on the ball. Really has really nice feet about him. Doesn't give the ball
Yeah.
away too much. Um, Delict. a game. The only thing missing from his performance was a goal from a corner, really. Which,
Yeah, yeah.
because he's getting so many opportunities from corners, we're often almost expecting him to score.
Hmm.
So a 7 for Delict. Martinez kept that booking for the two-footed
Yeah,
challenge.
silly challenge really, and he should know better.
Um, yeah, I think he was getting frustrated probably because United hadn't scored.
Hmm.
But he played well, so I'll give him a 6. Um, Dallo, yeah, wonderful ball and the into Garnacho for that
Hmm.
chance early on was Dean Henderson tipped around the post, but yeah, he sold himself for that as a chance that he should have scored. Yeah, but Ten Hag not doing him any favors by playing him on that left hand side.
Yeah.
So I'll say a 6 for Dallo. It was a clean sheet, so you wouldn't expect anyone in the back five to get lower than a 6 really in those
No.
circumstances. Um, Kobe Menu thought was brilliant, particularly in the second half. Just a wonderful ball player. Um, he's like reminds me of a young Iniesta. The ball just sticks to his feet. Um, so 7 for Menu, Christian Eriksen another 7. Yeah, he's in the team on merit. Christian Eriksen, you have to say. I know
Oh, absolutely.
we talk about his age and his lack of energy, but Ten Hag just doesn't feel that he can drop him at the moment or rest him because of how well he's
Hmm.
playing, and I can understand that. But sooner or later, he's going to have to rest him. He
But
can't,
he's gonna have to. Yeah, you
you
have
know.
to look after players like that. Maybe Mount might step in. I don't know, but I don't know who else offers anything similar to what Ericsson does. Bar Mount.
Yeah, Mount again. He's just a very different player, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, just a very different player.
So Bruno Fernandes thought it was terrible, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd
Hmm.
love to see the stats on how many times he gave the ball away. If somebody could tell me that, who's currently watching live, because it must have been well in the double figures. Even
Yeah, and the thing is, usually we forgive him for that if he can, score or offer something at the other
and
end.
and shooting and passing with the outside of his right foot rather than just shooting with his freaking left foot. Why
Hmm.
does he always have to try the fancy? He never keeps it simple. It always has to be something
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah. Somebody of his experience, he absolutely should have buried the chance he got. I'm a bit more critical of that one than I am Garnacho.
Definitely that chance. Oh, do you remember the other chance he had? That's what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Where he shot with from the edge of the box to the outside of his right foot.
Yep,
Just trying to be too fancy.
fancy with it.
Just bury it or
Hmm.
use your left foot. Just
I
yeah,
could understand if you wanted to be a bit fancy when we're 3-0 up, but not when it's 0-0.
yeah. He just can't help himself.
Hmm.
He's not going to change now. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
No.
Um, so Bruno would get a 3 from me. He's probably a worse player on the day, really, if I'm being honest. Um, Alejandro Garnacho, yeah, huge threat on the day. Probably, on looking at the score, that shot that hit the bar, but the shot Dean Henderson saved, I felt he perhaps should have done better there. Maybe went for the near post. But and then he had a rasper in the second half, didn't he? Probably maybe our only shot on target in the closing part of the game. It was from long distance, and Henderson had to tip it over. But it's definitely a positive performance from Garnacho, so I'll say a 6.
Hmm.
Amad Diallo, I thought he played some decent stuff. He What I like about him is that he's direct. He goes at players. He's being double marked, but he tries to take both players on. Um, yeah, it wasn't out of this world type performance, but um, Palace were making it difficult for us. I think they were playing with the back five, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So, so yeah, I'll say a 6 for Ahmad. Yeah, it wasn't outstanding, but he wasn't bad either. And Joshua Xerxes, yeah, it's becoming a typical Xerxes performance where
Hmm.
he comes deep, he's creative, he plays Garnacho in for that big
There's
chance.
there's great aspects to his game, and then he usually has one chance where he misses, and you think, you should have done better.
Yeah, it's one of them ones. He's just
It's one of those.
so I'll say a 6 for Xerxes. But what I have to say is that Him coming off for Rashford backfired. That did not work. We
Yeah.
got worse when the substitutions were made. No
Hmm.
doubt about that. Which is something we've said before about Ten Hag, unfortunately. And Ten Hag, um, yes, he'd probably say that, you know, my tactics were spot on. The team did enough to win the game. They just didn't take their chances. That's the way he look at it. But he's also responsible for, managing the game from the bench. And, if it's at 0-0 or midway through the second half, the manager has been paid to do something to change that. And what he did with those substitutions made us worse. So you have to mark him down for that. So it would be I'm gonna say a 4 out of 10 for Ten Hag. If it got over the line and won 1-0,
Mm.
it probably would have been a 7. No, I mean those are the margins really. But he did not affect the game from the bench at all. In fact, it was quite the opposite, which is
Yep.
frustrating. But one thing I have to ask you is that so it's 2 defeats and 2 wins and a draw. That's not good enough. There's been hammering in there as well. We've got very difficult fixtures coming up against Villa and Tottenham. If we were not to win either of those going into the international break, is he hanging on by a thread?
I think so. I think with each result that isn't a win, pressure starts to mount on him, especially with how unforgiving this league is. Especially when you look at the league table, we're already we're below Tottenham. I think we're 11th. You know, you just can't
Hmm.
afford to drop points at all at this stage. And yeah, every single detrimental result is just going to reflect very poorly in the league table, and it's going to add to it. It's going to add to the pressure. And Villa and Spurs, I think they both picked up victories today, both in decent form as well.
I think, yeah, absolutely, and the table is starting to take shape. Big teams
Yeah.
at the top of the league, and we're not one of
Hmm.
them.
No, no. And even you start to see now as well, even for like the Europa spots and the fourth spot, it's going to be like last season. There's so many teams in there for that. Newcastle have had a resurgence as well, so you can throw them in the mix. Chelsea look good. Bloody Sancho got 2 assists today. Um, Villa, who else? Then you're looking at even the likes of Tottenham, who we're level with. They're going to be fighting it out. You might see teams like Brighton push into that as well for the Europa. So there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, the media will make a big deal out of the fact that when United have a weekend where they don't win, and Chelsea have a weekend where they win, and Sancho plays well,
Yep,
they'll be like,
yep,
Sancho's getting the better of Ten Hag.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is going to be a thing now. Yeah, I'm sure if I go onto Twitter now, the timeline's going to be full of that.
Yeah, because even seen last weekend when he got an assist, Chelsea
Yeah,
fans were trying to rub it in. You're like, I don't
yeah.
even care. He did nothing for us. You can have him. And this is good news because this means they're going to have to pay the 25 million in the summer
Yeah,
for him. So
yeah,
quite happy with that. What is it? If they finish above 14th, then they
yeah.
have to they have to pay for they pay 20 million for Sancho, and if
Mm,
he meets a certain amount of goals and assists or whatever, then they have to pay the 25 million. So
mm,
far, it looks like we're going to get the maximum money for him the way he's playing. But he's going to be motivated at the start, isn't he? Because he wants to prove people wrong at United, especially Ten Hag. But he'll probably drop
definitely.
off. He'll drop off again. That's just the way he is. Um,
Yeah, it's very early days, isn't it? You have to assess it at the end of the season. But either way, it's done now. There's an obligation, isn't there? So he's gone either way.
yeah. But yeah, like the top teams are Liverpool, City, Villa, Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton. That's the top 7, and then we're all the way down in 11th. So that is
Hmm.
very very poor.
Yep, level on points with Tottenham, but below them on goal difference.
Yeah, and we play them next, of course, at Old Trafford. Don't know what to expect there. Probably a draw, and that's not good
Hmm.
enough for either team.
Yep. Yeah,
But
I just looked as well. Yeah, everyone in the top 10 has a better goal difference than us.
of course they do. This is more of this. People will say there will be people who do podcasts and streams who support United, and they'll say they're watching progress. We can see what Ten Hag is trying to do. We just have to be patient. But the
Mm.
reality is, this is the same as last season. In the cold light of day, when you look at the table, when you look at the goal difference, when you look at the lack of goals, this is more of the same, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Having looked at the game though, I did the first half. I was very impressed. I just wish that we could have taken our chances or kept that same momentum going into the second.
But now
And yeah,
we've left ourselves in a situation, feels like it's happened before. We're not
yeah,
getting the points against the
nope,
weaker teams as we should.
nope.
Then we're going into
The
games
bigger
against
teams.
strong opposition, having to win. We need to win,
Yep.
which is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's kind of backwards, isn't it? Because we used to do it in reverse, where the teams we were supposed to beat, we absolutely would thrash them, and then the teams that were difficult, you could grind out a draw sometimes
Yeah.
and keep it moving. But now, yeah, we've put ourselves in an impossible situation where we have to beat the top sides who are in form. And that kid at Aston Villa, he popped up again today, off the bench and scored.
He took Duran.
Yeah, that's the one, the young striker. Yeah, yeah. Again, he popped up. Oh, he scored an absolute worldie last week.
I did indeed, yeah. Another thing I have to mention is, do you know Taylor Dibling scored today? The winger
Yeah,
that.
the kid that gave Dallo a torrid time. Yeah, that was the first thing I saw when I looked at the Southampton result.
So I was reading in midweek, and I think it was from Ben Jacobs, the journalist, who's very good information on Man United and Ineos. He says that Dan Ashworth was tracking Tyler Dibling while he was at Newcastle, and is a big fan of the player, and
Mm,
he was aggressively pursuing him, and he's watching him again. So I'll be watching that with interest.
okay.
If we replaced Anthony with Tyler Dibling, I'd be more than happy. That'd be progress. Uh, yeah, so Anthony scored a penalty in midweek against the mighty Barnsley.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I was happy for him because he won the penalty as well. I was thinking, I was like, oh no, don't let him take it as well. He's gonna mess it up, isn't he? But yeah, bless him. He actually scored. It's about all he did in the game. But yeah, the
yeah,
start, I suppose.
it was a pity penalty, wasn't it? Rashford just let him take it. Uh, yeah, so and Eze is another player which United have been linked with, and they're apparently still scouting. So he is obviously a lot older than Taylor Dibling, but
Hmm.
he's showed us tonight again what a fabulous footballer he is, and certainly would not be. He's England international now, of course, so it wouldn't be against him coming in either. If we, but that would probably cost a lot more money, I would say. But yeah,
Yeah,
but that would be
yeah.
if we're bringing in a quality player like that, um, be it Dibling or Eze or whoever, and you're moving Anthony on, then that's another step in the right direction, isn't it?
Hmm.
Because I want nothing personal, but against Anthony, but I look forward to the days where he's not on the bench, and we've got a really strong bench where you believe in everybody who's on the bench.
Well, you look at the bench and think, oh, we've got players who can actually come on and make a difference. You mean like that?
Yeah, I felt that tonight to a certain extent, but it didn't really work out that way,
Hmm.
unfortunately. Because I felt
Yeah,
like,
surprisingly, only three changes today. And he didn't go to his usual move. I was expected to see Harry Maguire at some stage.
yeah, first time this season that he hasn't substituted a centre back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I thought for sure in in the last 10 minutes we were gonna see Harry come on.
It's another one of his odd traits that where he likes to sub the
Yeah,
centre back. And to me, any other manager would tell you that you want to keep your back four consistent, if possible, unless there's an injury. But Ten Hag loves to make a substitution in that area.
yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, because I always think that's the one place on the field where you want to see the least amount of change. Because it's so important that that
But
they all understand and keep that relationship.
but it is an area of the pitch that we can't really complain about at the moment. I feel as
No,
if
no.
the back four and the goalkeeper are doing okay. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
I know Palace got a couple of chances in the second half, but that's
Hmm.
going to happen in any game against any decent opponent. They're going to get a chance at some point. But overall, I think the back five are doing reasonably well.
Yeah, yeah, they've done all right. Yeah, and I think it's way too early to say, but my early favorite at the moment is probably Delay. I think that's the one that pleases me most. And then Mazraoui for the price as well. You can't really complain, can you?
I still got Lenny Yarrow to come back in as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And Luke Shaw, of course, keep forgetting about Luke Shaw. One thing I want to talk about is that Malacia is now back in training, at least to
Mhm.
some degree. That's a surprise, but good news, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's been out for so long that I don't know what to expect when he eventually sees minutes. So I think we have to be very patient with that one. Very patient. With Euro, it's almost a blessing in disguise because I feel like the pressure would have been on him had he started the season. Whereas now, Delit and Leacher have been given time to sort of establish themselves as the first choice pairing, and Euro can just slot in on occasion.
Yes, absolutely. Um, and I think Malacia might make an appearance after the international break, something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
He come on as a sub, maybe in a Europa League game, and then maybe start the next Europa League game the week after.
yeah, that would be good. Something like that would be good. But yeah, we need to be very patient because he's been out for a very, very long time.
Yeah, he's not going to come back in and start against Aston Villa, like, is he? No
Yeah, oh,
chance.
hell no. Yeah.
No,
I think that's what frightens me as well. Actually, the two teams we're playing, bloody Solanke as well. He scored today, and I think we've got Tottenham next. Yes.
yeah, the next league game next
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're playing these teams as well just when they're starting to turn form. Uh, when their players are starting to turn up.
Yeah, tough. That's a tough week, after the
Yeah, yeah.
FC 20 game, because we've got Tottenham on the Sunday at 4:30, then away at Porto in the Estadio de Drago on the
And
Thursday
that's
evening.
a difficult place to go at any time.
Yeah, even in the Fergie days, that was a difficult
Yeah,
place to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
And Aston Villa then on the Sunday after that at
Mhm.
2:30. You know, there's not a big turnaround there between the Porto away match and the Villa away match. That's going to be tough for
Yep,
United.
yep, yep.
And
But yeah,
Ten Hag cannot afford a thrashing at Villa Park. Absolutely
no,
no
he
way.
absolutely can't. Yeah, yeah, he absolutely can't.
So I haven't really changed my mind. I think that it's only a matter of time before Ten Hag has moved on, and
Mhm.
it's going to be dictated to by results. Simple as that. And the results have not been good enough. So I think we're slow walking towards a sacking. I can't really pinpoint when it's going to be or after which game, but I think it's coming at some point this season because I don't think we're going to make top four, and that's probably the minimum requirement from many of us, I would say.
Mm. Yeah, I don't
And
know. I don't know. I don't know what the expectation is for them that they've set out to him. But even yeah, top four I think is difficult anyway because just the amount of competition for that, and we're already behind in that chase.
yeah, yeah, it's not been great. When we played so well against Man City in the Community Shield, we were thinking positively about the season ahead,
Yeah.
and 5 games in, we've had 2 wins, 2 defeats, and a draw, and already
Yeah,
a thrashing to the
yeah,
team.
and look at it this way: we're 5 points off of where we need to be for fourth, and the two teams we have next are Tottenham and Villa. Villa, who are there in fourth at the moment on 12 points, and then Spurs, who are fighting it out with us.
Yeah, two of the competitors.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So yeah, it's
tell you
difficult.
what,
So
I I was talking a few weeks ago that the Champions League campaign, and this might still happen, might impact Villa's form in the league, but it hasn't
mm,
yet, has it?
no, it hasn't. Thus far, it hasn't.
They were they dispatched Young Boys quite comfortably, and they've won the league game after that. So
Yep.
yeah, it's not, tougher test lie ahead because I believe that Villa's next Champions League game is Bayern Munich. So welcome to the big time again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I still can't get my head around this new format for the Champions League.
It's weird, isn't it?
I think it's a nonsense to be honest. So yeah, I'm just kind of hoping. to fast forward to the knockout stages where it all goes back to normal.
Yeah, I just wish you were in it.
Or
'Cause
that too. And also, yeah, because and whoever makes the decisions with the fixtures and stuff as well, it's a bit strange because I know tomorrow is the big game, obviously for Man City Arsenal, and yeah, I don't know why Arsenal played on the Thursday and then have to travel for City, whereas City had a home game and an extra day's rest.
yeah, and, and of course Arsenal drew the 1-0 away in
Yeah,
Bergamo. If you listen to
yeah,
the
yeah.
fans, um, that's the biggest 0-0 thrashing I've ever heard of. Um, because
Like, yeah, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of unfair. And I think they got like 3 away games on the trot. I thought, huh. So yeah, City have got all the advantages. They played at home as well, so they didn't have to travel nowhere and an extra day's rest.
yeah, there was actually an Arsenal fan on social media who was after the 0-0 draw with Atalanta was liking
Yeah.
Arsenal to Real Madrid.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
In what sense? In that they're a football team. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably where the comparison stops.
yeah. So just thought I would end the podcast on with a joke.
15-time Champions League winners to a club that can only imagine what one looks like.
That
Ah,
hasn't won the title in 20 years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Madness.
But it doesn't surprise me because for my in my whole life, it's never taken much for Arsenal fans to get carried away.
Yeah, yeah. Mind you, we've got a fair few of those in our fan base too. Two
Yeah.
victories and it's title charge. One defeat and it's doom and gloom.
Yeah, we still have a lot of people in our fan base who they go on about how great Dallo is and how great Lindelof is, and then they
Hmm.
wonder why we're so shit. Do you,
Yep,
do you ever think
basically.
that some of these players might be a bit mediocre, a bit average, and that might be why
Hmm.
we're not any good?
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Do you know what's happened in recent times, which is what I feared once we fell off a cliff post Fergie, was that we'd start accepting mediocrity, and see in the latter days of Wenger, Arsenal fans would be talking up this player and that player and saying how great he is when he wasn't really that good. He was just a mediocre player. And we've started to do that as well. You
Yeah,
start accepting mediocrity and, celebrating players who aren't really that good. And that's what
yeah.
we've
That's the
become.
thing. You can't lose objectivity. I think you get caught up in the tribalism sometimes, and people can't see beyond what they want to see.
Yeah, we tend to, not me personally, but a lot of our fan base tend to exaggerate how good some players are. And
Definitely. It's like if you asked any of our lot about Scott McTominay last season, the first thing they'll say to you, he scores goals.
yeah,
But but what position does he play? What does he offer in midfield in his position?
yeah. Anytime I criticise McTominay last season, I get the
Yeah,
head bitten off me. You're
yeah,
not allowed.
yeah. And they just go, oh, just but he scores goals. I was like, is that what you want from a midfielder? Is it just goals?
Yeah, he wasn't scoring enough goals to make up for his other deficiencies in the middle of the park.
Hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So yeah, and
Yeah,
Lindy as well. He should have been gone quite some time ago.
I seen somebody else this morning. I opened social media, and it was another essay on Twitter about how great Diogo Dallo has been for United. I'm just like, are you
Mm.
serious?
No, certainly last season, I do think he's one of the most improved players, but that also doesn't mean he's one of the best around. You know?
I know. Like, he doesn't. I think somebody responded, but a lot of people disagreed, which I'm happy about and glad people are seeing
Yeah,
things that I'm seeing. But there was other people who were saying things like he would get into every single team in the league. Are you serious?
yeah. See, this kind of stuff is nonsense. I think me and you kept it quite consistent last season, where we were like, um, a player like him, if we're trying to reach the heady heights that we're trying to get back to, can only be a rotational option.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't get into a title winning team, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
And neither does Victor Lindelof. I know it's calmed down a
Hmm.
bit because he's not playing, but there was people saying that he's the best third choice centre back in the Premier League. No, he
Yeah,
isn't.
yeah.
And and he's, what is he now? Sixth choice for Man United.
Hmm.
Um,
He's below
and
Johnny Evans,
yeah, he is. Yeah, 100%.
and Johnny
Um,
Evans, bless him, is I think he's about my age.
yeah, 37, isn't he? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't have expected him to be at Man United at 37, but no, fair play
I
to
don't
him.
think he would have expected to be
No,
United.
no, he probably expected to be in the MLS probably at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He probably thought he would have been done by now. But yeah.
But playing games against Barnsley, that's where he should be used, really.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, this season, even when he said, because I said last season, didn't I? I was like, you know what? The FA Cup was probably the perfect farewell for him. So I was kind of surprised that he stayed on. But yeah, this season, League Cup is where I'm expecting to see him.
Definitely. And maybe if the if you pick up an injury during a game, then maybe he can come on, at left centre
Yeah.
back. Like if Martinez gets a knock during a game, then you can see Evans coming on. Really, that
Hmm.
that that makes logical sense. But yeah, not a
And
great
even
night.
then, with Euro coming back, I really am not expecting Johnny to see many minutes.
Yeah, definitely. And even Maguire's not going to see many minutes once everybody's available.
Hmm.
Mhm. And but yeah, he's done okay when he's been called upon. But plenty of options there, and yeah, Lindelof's just not going to get a kick, is he? Unless there's an injury crisis at the
Nah,
back.
nah. Yeah. Unless something
Mhm.
crazy happens, or
I,
we get to that festive period in December,
I
I
can
can't
actually
really
see a
see him.
scenario where he's sold for about 5 million in January. I can see that
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. He's in his last year though, isn't he? So I
Yeah.
think from January onwards they can speak to foreign clubs.
Yes. So United
So
might
yeah.
just take a few million for him in January and just
Hmm.
let him go. You know, but let's see what happens. So not a positive night.
Nope.
And some big games coming up against Villa, Tottenham, and Porto. You'd like to think
Hmm.
we'd get the points at home to FC 20, but
We have to, because I'm not confident at all going into Porto, because I remember them playing Arsenal last season and gave them a torrid time.
they did. Yeah, eventually Arsenal won on penalties, didn't they? And
Hmm.
that two-legged tie. Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. Even when we're at our
Yeah.
best,
Hmm.
we lost there in 2004 when Quentin Fortune scored and Roy Keane got sent off for standing on the goalkeeper. And then we lost the tie, of course, when with that. Uh, Cortinia free kick when Marino was running down the touchline. Paul Scholes
Yeah.
had a goal disallowed when three men were playing him
That one
onside.
still pisses me off. That's just
Mm,
down to the officiating. We should have beat them.
yeah, we should have went through that night if the
Yeah,
officials got
yeah.
everything right. And then in 2009, everybody will remember us winning 1-0 away in Porto with Ronaldo scoring from about 40
Oh,
yards out.
you could forget that goal. That banger, absolute banger.
Yes, one of the most incredible goals I've seen in my lifetime. Yeah, and yeah,
Hmm.
Ronaldo was capable of that. Um, yeah, I
And,
think it
and
was two.
speaking of Ronaldo, I don't know if you caught the interview with Rio Ferdinand.
I've seen a lot of the quotes from it, yeah, but I haven't watched it from start to
Okay, it
finish.
was actually a good watch. Yeah, it's only about 40 minutes or so, but yeah, it was a good watch. It's a good watch.
Yeah, some interesting stuff in there. Um, some subtle digs at Ten Hag in there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, some subtle ones, but yeah, no, some positive stuff as well actually. So yeah, yeah, it was pretty good. He was quite happy for Van Nistelrooy coming back. He said
Yeah,
having
I
Van
read that.
Nistelrooy would be quite good. He said it'll be good provided the manager was willing to listen.
Yeah, and that was one of the subtle digs that I was referring
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he says stuff like he loves Man United, the team that he's walked out on twice. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, listen, things happen, don't they? Like at the end of the day, when you're a footballer, you do have to prioritize your career. You only get one.
disappointing that his second stint ended so abruptly like that. Him and Ten Hag just didn't get on.
Yeah, again, I put it down on the club more than them two. I just think that the club promised them both different things.
Yeah, I think he wanted to go that summer anyway because United weren't in the Champions League, and you know what he's like when it comes to the. But then, what's the point in crying saying you want to play
I
in the
think
Champions
he would.
League.
I think he would have stayed and fought had he felt like the team was being built around him. But the thing is, when you're that age, it's kind of crazy to build a team around a player
Yeah, and
that
then
old. But yeah, we got ourselves
yeah,
into that situation.
I think he'd accepted the fact that he wasn't going to be allowed to leave, or
Mm,
there was nowhere to go in Europe, and he was going to play in the Europa League for United and just accept it. But Ten Hag just wasn't starting him in many games, and he
just
came frustrated. He got
yeah,
frustrated with that, you know.
yeah, that's what it was. So that's why I don't think he got what he was promised. And then Ten Hag probably didn't want him either. And
I do think that Ten Hag starting Martial ahead of him was a nonsense. When you
mm,
think about that now, that was ridiculous.
hmm
Uh, I remember at Goodison Park that season, Martial started the match, had to come off injured typically, and then Ronaldo come on and scored. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so I don't know. He just wasn't the type of player that Ten Hag wanted, or maybe he wanted to make a
hmm
statement by saying, "I'm the one in
no, I
charge."
think I think it was definitely probably just the fact that it wasn't his kind of player in it. So yeah, he didn't want to use him, and yeah, made a statement.
Yeah, do you know, it's we talk now about our lack of goals, but before the Ten Hag era, just a small amount of time before that, we had Ronaldo, Cavani, and Greenwood all playing for Man United and banging in goals. So at various points, and we
Hmm
were not. One thing on the Solskjaer, it was not. We were not struggling for goals on the Solskjaer. It was we're conceding too many goals. That was the
Yeah,
issue.
yeah,
Now it's kind of
yeah.
the other
Now
way
it's
around.
it's the polar opposite now. Yeah, now we look organized and stuff at times. It's just that yeah, we can't score.
Somebody was posting clips of Cavani at United recently on social media and saying,
Mm.
"Oh, what a player he was!"
Oh, the first season, most
Oh,
definitely. The second season, yeah. I think
he
once
did.
we stripped him of his number 7, I think he stopped caring.
Yeah, once Ronaldo came in, Cavani was
Yeah,
then became an irrelevance,
yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. I think it's just the disrespect in general. I don't think it's nice to just pull. I mean, obviously in that situation, I totally understand why they did it. From a marketing uh, view as well, it was a smart move to make. But for any player to get their shirt number stripped, unless it's a choice where they give it up, it's yeah, it's never going to end well.
I think he agreed to give it up, but maybe deep down he wasn't that happy about it. But
Yeah, but it's one of those, isn't it? Maybe out of courtesy, but it's like I don't think you can really say no in that.
but
To be honest, because even if he says no, then they're just going to be like, all right, listen, Edson, well, we've made the decision. We're going to take it off you anyway. You know?
I think the main thing was that he took his place as well in the
Yeah,
team.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And then the injuries didn't help, and then he was getting treatment back home and abroad, and he was just off on his
yeah,
holidays.
and then but there was the odd occasion, like at Tottenham, where they played
Mm,
together and they were magnificent together, Ronaldo
hmm
and Cavani. But you'd expect that from world class players, and they'll just dale immediately. Um,
Definitely. And then
like
you
Cavani,
remember with Martial as well when his number 9 got taken.
yeah, but who cares? I just was not a
But
fan of Martial after about
yeah,
2 years.
it's one of those. I mean, it knocks the confidence of the players.
After about 2 seasons, Martial was no longer for me.
Yeah.
I always give everybody a chance at the beginning, but
Mm.
after a while, I just got sick of him. His body language just
I didn't
put me
mind
off.
him. I didn't mind him all the way up until COVID. I don't think. Um, it was really the
It,
Sevilla loan is when I gave up all hope.
yeah, he had a bit of a resurgence in during the lockdown era. He scored a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
goals.
That lovely goal against Watford will always live in the memory. Yeah, it was really the Sevilla loan spell where I just thought, yeah, this is it's too late. It's just done.
Did nothing on that loan spell as
Yeah,
well.
nothing at all. When he came back from that, I was like, yeah, he's done.
He done with football really
Yeah.
because he's constantly injured, and then he just looks disinterested as well. Where is he now? AEK Athens.
AEK Athens. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
quite a fall from grace.
I was quite surprised he found the club, to be honest. So yeah, he should thank his lucky stars.
Yeah,
I hope he
like
does well there.
Flamingo wouldn't give him the third year, I think, but
Mm,
Athens did, so that's why he's ended up there and on a decent amount
yeah.
of money, I believe, as well.
Oh, okay. Well, good for him. Nice place to live as well. So yeah, I hope he does well.
Yeah. Yeah, with his injury record, he'll play about 5 games for them, and then his contract will be torn up.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, right?
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up there. Hopefully the results improve. If not, Ten Hag could be on his way out. But
Hmm.
please, everybody, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and get more of your thoughts in. And nice to see you next time, Brush.
Yep. Take care.